Hello, third graders. Today is planting day. So we are going to be planting some seeds today. A lot of you have been sending me messages that you have gardens at home or that you've been planting seeds. And that is the very best way to learn. And I'm sure your parents can teach you or your grandparents can teach you a lot about planting. But for those of you who can't plant any seeds at home right now, I'm going to plant some seeds and be able to show you as they grow through some videos. For those of you who are planting, you guys can do some comparisons. You can look at the plants I'm growing and you'll be able to see what you would have done with planting if you were at Pinewood. So today is all about planting seeds. So what do you guys think you need to plant seeds? I'm thinking a lot of you are thinking about sunlight. Plants need sunlight to grow. I'm hoping that you know water, that the plants need water to grow. And I'm thinking that you probably knew that the plants need to grow in some soil. Now, maybe some of you knew about fertilizer, which is something that you can buy at the store, and it provides extra nutrients because your plant needs water and nutrients that it gets from the soil to grow. And the other thing your plant needs, is air. Your plant actually needs air in order to grow. And luckily, that's a really easy thing to provide because there's air all around the plant. If you were at Pinewood, the kind of plant you would grow is called a Wisconsin fast plant. So I have some special seeds I'm going to grow, and they will end up looking like this. And there's a lot of reasons we use these plants. And I'm going to read you an article that you would have read at school about Wisconsin fast plants and the reason that this is the kind of seed we use for our classroom lessons on plants. The Wisconsin fast plant is the plant you will be using for your experiments in this unit. It took Dr. Paul Williams, who is a professor and researcher at the University of Wisconsin, about 15 years to develop it. 15 years may seem like a very long time to spend breeding a plant, but think of all that he accomplished. Through selective breeding, and we learned about that, he was picking specific traits that he wanted this plant to have. Dr. Williams was able to speed up the plant's life cycle, making it 10 times faster than that of its parents. Today, this small yellow-flowered plant whizzes through its entire life cycle, from seed to seed in just 6 weeks. Dr. Williams had an interesting reason for wanting to develop a fast plant. He is a plant pathologist, and his job is to study plant diseases and to find out if some plants inherit the ability to fight off diseases. In order to speed up his work, he needed a fast-growing plant to use in his studies. Dr. Williams started with a world collection of more than 2,000 brassica seeds and planted them in his laboratory using planting, lighting, and watering equipment almost exactly like I'm going to show you that we will use. He observed that out of the 2,000 plants, only a few plants flowered much sooner than others. He took advantage of these exceptional plants by crossbreeding them. These few would be the parents of his next generation of plants. Dr. Williams wondered what kind of offspring these faster flowering parents would produce. Would the offspring inherit the ability to flower earlier than the average brassica plant? Yes, in fact, a few of these new plants even flowered a little faster than the parent plants. These slightly faster offspring were then chosen to be cross-pollinated, becoming the parents of the next generation. Dr. Williams continued to use this method of selective breeding for years. He grew populations of 288 or more plants in each generation. He crossbred the earliest flowering plants of this population and used their seeds to grow the next generation. In each new generation, he found that about 10% of the plants flowered slightly earlier than their parents had. The selective breeding was a grand success. The result is what is now known as Wisconsin fast plants. Besides developing a 6-week growth cycle, Dr. Williams was able to breed in other desirable qualities that makes the plant a nearly ideal laboratory tool. Some outstanding traits of these plants are they produce lots of pollen and eggs, resulting in many fertile seeds. Their seeds do not need a dormancy or rest period, so they can be replanted immediately. Sometimes you need to let seeds dry out, but these you don't have to. The plants are small and compact. They thrive in a crowd, and they grow well under constant light. Wisconsin fast plants have become important laboratory research tools all over the world. Soon, they will be part of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's space biology program. But most exciting of all, these special plants are becoming part of school science programs across the country, from the elementary until to the college level. And those are the plants that you would have planted at Pinewood and that I'm going to plant here at my house and take videotape to show you. So here is a videotape of Mrs. Sherman planting the Wisconsin fast plant seeds. Hi, third graders. Today is planting day. Now, I know a lot of you have already planted. You can plant seeds in pots at home, or a lot of you are planting gardens, and that's totally fine. I'm going to show you what you would have done if you were at Pinewood planting. And if you haven't planted anything and your parents have some seeds you could plant, this would be great for you to do at home. If you don't have any seeds or you can't plant anything, don't worry. I'm going to be sharing our progress with our planting by videotaping it for you and showing you what is happening. So here, this would have been set up in your classroom. This is a grow light, and this is how we can grow things inside. You don't need this. You can also just grow in a sunny window, or if you're growing outside, you get plenty of sunshine that way. What we do at school is we set up this watering system using what's called capillary action. So what we do is we fill the bucket with water, and then there's a felt piece here with some of the felt hanging down. And the water, this is soaked with water right now, but the water will continue to travel up using what's called capillary action. Now, what we do is in the little planter, and I already planted this one, there's these little wicks on the bottom, and they're made of cloth, and these are already soaking wet. They soak up the water, and then the water goes up into the planter, and it keeps our plants nice and moist. I'm going to show you how we do this. So these are the little wicks that come in as part of this planting kit, and we put them through the holes in the bottom of the planter, and that way when these get wet, they'll soak the water into the ground, into the soil, and then the plant's roots will be able to, not seeing it, the plant's roots will be able to soak up that water for the plant. Let's get another one. Okay, so then we have all of our wicks in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some soil in here because plants need soil to grow in. And so I have my potting soil, and I'm going to fill this up about halfway. And then these are fertilizer pellets. So these, we put 3 in each, and these contain nutrients for the plant to grow. So we put 3. So these are not seeds. They're what are called fertilizer pellets. If you guys are planting a garden in the backyard, your parents probably put some fertilizer down or some kind of plant food for the plants. So we put these in to provide nutrients for the seed in the plant. And then we put in more soil. And then I'm going to plant the seeds. Now, the seeds we would plant at school, which are not the seeds you guys are probably planting at home, they're really little. They're called Wisconsin fast plant seeds, and we use them because these plants will grow really fast. They have a fast life cycle. Oops, So we'll be able to see before the end of school what happens with these plants because they'll grow so quickly. Every kind of plant and seed has a different germination time, they call it. So it's the time that it takes for the seed to come up through the soil to open and start growing. And so these are really fast because they're fast growing seeds. And so we'll see a pretty quick turnaround time. I'm going to plant some other kinds of seeds, and those will take longer. And you can see I'm putting like 4 or 5 in each. They're really tiny seeds. And a bunch of the plants will grow. And then what we'll do in a couple days is once they start growing, we will thin them. So we'll decide which ones are the strongest that we should keep and which ones are not. There you can get a better look at the seeds. And so this is much the same way that you would plant your seeds at home. And you can really use any kind of container or cup. And then you're going to want to make sure it gets sunlight and water. And so I put it here for the light and the water. Now I'm going to plant the rest of my seeds. I'm going to be planting some beans and some pumpkins and some lettuce and some sunflower seeds. And if you guys have seeds at home, you can go ahead now and plant them. Happy planting. Okay. So now, once the seeds are planted, I have this really cool video that will show you what's going to happen under the soil, things that you can't see right away. So once you plant your seeds for a couple days, it's not going to look like anything's happening. And but there is a lot happening. And if you can think about when we soaked our seed, how it got bigger and then we were able to split it open, well, all of that is happening underground because the seeds are wet. And so because we water them and we keep the soil moist, those are wet seeds. And so the seeds are going to start changing, and then they're going to what's called germinate. So let's watch this quick video to see what is going to happen over the next couple of days.
Checking out our plants, and they look great. It's almost hard to believe that these beautiful flowers and plants came from the teeny tiny seeds we put in the pots just a few weeks ago. You might be familiar with the little packets of seeds that you use to grow flowers or vegetables in your garden, or maybe the sunflower seeds that you find in your snack mix. But did you know that popcorn kernels, beans, peas, acorns, and rice are also seeds? Well, one of our friends, 5-year-old Dimitri, wrote in to ask us, how does a seed grow into a plant? Thanks for asking, Dimitri. First of all, seeds come in lots of different shapes and sizes, but they're all made of 3 parts. An outer shell called the seed coat, a tiny baby plant that's inside the seed called the embryo, and some plant food for the embryo called endosperm. The seed coat has an important job. It covers the entire seed, protecting the little baby plant inside and keeping it from drying out. The seed coat also has super sensing powers. It has special chemicals in it that can tell when the seed is in the right place to start growing. For example, the sunflower seeds and the pumpkin seeds in your trail mix sense that it's not safe to grow. After all, seeds can't grow when they're surrounded by raisins and chocolate chips. So while the seeds are in a bag or in your hands, it's like they're asleep. The seeds are still alive, but they're dormant or inactive. Some seeds can stay like this for hundreds or even thousands of years. Great question, Squeaks. To get started, every seed needs water, the right temperature, and the right amount of light. Once the seed has these 3 things, like when it's planted in some nice wet soil, the embryo, or baby plant, gets the signal to start growing. For plants, this growing process is called germination. First, the seed coat lets some water through to the embryo, but the embryo needs more than just water if it's going to grow. Good thing, there's a whole bunch of plant food right there inside the seed. Until the plant can make its own food from sunlight, which it will need leaves to do, it relies on the endosperm for energy. It's like the little baby plant has its own backpack of snacks. So the embryo keeps growing and taking in more water until the seed coat cracks open and the embryo kicks out a kind of a foot. But not at all like my foot. The first part of the plant to come out of the seed is the root. The root always grows downward, no matter what way the seed is planted. A seed can actually tell which way is up and which way is down. So the root pushes down deeper and deeper into the soil, looking for more water and minerals to feed the baby plant. Once the plant is all grown up, those deep roots will have another job. They'll help keep the plant from falling over are blowing away in the wind. But soon after the first baby root finds its way into the dirt, another part of the seed pops out, this time in the opposite direction. A shoot, which has the stem of the plant and a few leaves, pushes its way up towards the sunlight. Once the shoot breaks through the soil to the open air above, we say that it's sprouted. Now the plant doesn't need the endosperm anymore because it can make its own food from sunlight. With enough water and sunlight and the right temperature, the young plant will continue to grow, getting bigger and growing more leaves until it's an adult plant and it can produce seeds of its own. Next time you're about to chow down on a handful of sunflower seeds, just think, it's like you've got a whole field of flowers right in your hand. Thanks to our friend Dimitri for asking this great question. And if any of you have a question for any of us here at the fort, let us know by leaving a comment or emailing us at kids@thescishow.com. See you next time, guys.
All right. I hope that helped you learn a lot more about plants. So your assignment for today is try it out. Plant any seed that you want to observe. A lot of you have been sharing that you are planting your gardens. Keep on sharing what is happening in your garden and keep on observing your own plants. There is nothing to turn in today. Things you can do for science today after you watch this video are to plant a seed. Work in your garden. Observe what is happening with the plants you have already planted. And don't worry, if you are unable to plant any seeds or a garden, you will be observing the plants that I am growing when I keep sharing videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I can't wait to hear all about your plants and gardens.